The ABC's The Performance-Based Contracting Case Study, Quality Failure in the News. Did you hear about the door that blew off during an Alaska flight in January 24 and think that's probably a performance-based contract failure? I'm fairly certain I'm the only person on the planet that had that thought. But one telltale sign is the confusion as to who is accountable for the dangerous quality failure. Case in point is the conjecture about whether Boeing, as the original equipment manufacturer, or Spirit AeroSystems, the fuselage supplier, is to blame for the failure of the Boeing 737 door plug on the January 2024 Alaska Airlines flight. Okay, so because the Boeing 737 door plug accident is in the news, it's the perfect example to explain the second element in performance-based contracting, the inclusion of the quality assurance surveillance plan. Hi, I'm Jeanette Neiden, a contract attorney, and I train contract professionals, usually non-lawyers, to negotiate complex contracts with confidence. I'm the author of 4 business books all about negotiating complex contracts and the owner of a contract negotiation skills training company, Neiden on Negotiation. All right, so here's the challenge. Boeing is not alone in its dependence on a global supply chain. And unfortunately, it made news, not in a good way, when the Alaska Airlines flight returned to Portland after the door plug flew off. Maintaining quality in an extended supply chain is incredibly important and challenging. So let's unpack this incident a bit from the perspective of a non-law contract professional. Now, this background is based on publicly available National Transportation Safety Board preliminary report. You can find the link here. The report has a lot of detailed drawings and some pictures, and if you're interested, follow the link or the QR code provided in the description. Now, the official description from the report is this. On January 5th, 2024, Alaska Airlines Flight 1282, a Boeing 7379, returned to Portland International Airport after the left mid-exit door plug departed the airplane. Sorry, I can't say that in a straight face. Yeah, it just departed, leading to a rapid decompression. The door plug was recovered in the backyard of a private residence. Thank God no one was hurt, so we can still find this somewhat interesting, and it's not heartbreaking and heart-rendering. So that's super frightening. As someone who flies a lot, I am so grateful that no one was seriously hurt in the incident. The manufacturing records and human performance section of this NTSB preliminary report gets super interesting from a contract perspective. Boeing and its supplier Spirit AeroSystems, and then their sub-supplier Malaysian Spirit AeroSystems, all kept detailed manufacturing and human performance records. Now, if you've worked in manufacturing or in a complex software development and implementation, then you are well aware of this. So, but before I go on, for those of you who are new, let's recap a bit. Performance-based contracts are a class of agreements where payment for goods and services is contingent on the supplier achieving clearly outlined performance goals or desired outcomes. Now, this is different from paying a supplier for a one-off delivery. Typically, performance-based contracts have 5 critical components. 1, there's a performance work statement or a performance-based statement of work or technical specification. 2, quality assurance surveillance plan. 3, performance-based metrics. 4, contractual incentives or disincentives. And then 5, the right pricing model. Now, while you as a contract professional could not prevent a quality failure, the NTSB, Boeing, and Spirit AeroSystems are all investigating, and you can bet your last dollar they're poring over the contract to determine what processes, laws, regulations, and corporate policies were to be followed. Remember, to obligate a party to follow some process, regulation, or policy, they have to be unambiguously spelled out in the contract, and then that's your role as the contract professional. So let's dive a little bit deeper into Boeing's door plug issue. The manufacturing reports and human performance section of the NTSB preliminary report details milestones along the way to complete the fabrication of the fuselage. Now, these reports make up part of the Quality Assurance Surveillance Plan, or QASP, which is the second element of all performance-based contracts. So that's why I knew when I started watching the news, we've got a performance-based contract here and that something has gone wrong. Now, the NTSB can trace each production step in the fabrication process, noting where there were issues with quality because of all the production steps that are subject to extensive quality processes and procedures, laws, regulations, corporate policies. In other words, that whole kit and caboodle is the QASP. Okay, so quality issue number one. Rivets were damaged or improperly drilled in the unfinished fuselage, requiring rework at the Boeing facility. Quality issue two. The door plug had to be removed to fix the rivets, and this was done at the Boeing facility. Quality three. There were 4 bolts missing from the door plug that flew off in mid-takeoff. Now, the NTSB will undoubtedly be investigating this more thoroughly for months, if not years to come. So what's your role to ensure quality performance? Well, there are 5 activities that all contract professionals who work with performance-based quality issues should complete before the performance-based contract is executed. And these activities are relevant to both manufacturing and enterprise-wide software development. 1, you need to understand the work. 2, you need to validate that the statement of work or specification is complete. This is as true for the supplier or contractor as it is for the buying company. So if you don't think you've got a complete specification or scope of work and it's a performance-based contract and you are the expert, then you need to submit some assumptions to the buying organization to validate that this is incomplete, to determine whether this will be self-performed work, like Boeing is going to do this work, or is it your work as the supplier that you're going to do. 3, you're going to look for telltale signs of quality in the technical specification or the statement of work. And if you'd like to know how to do that, then please take my free manager training series. It's a webinar where I spend a half an hour and I talk about these issues and I give you very specific terms from contracts in the specification and then the term also in the general terms and conditions, the legal clauses, if you will. 4, you have to ensure that the T's and C's obligate that the supplier performs according to applicable laws, regulations, and corporate policies. And then 5, you have to ensure that the T's and C's are flowed down to all subcontractors. Now, here's where there's the rub, because according to the NTSB public testimony in front of the United States Senate, there were additional contractors at Spiro Aerosystems in Wichita, Kansas. So now we're talking about Boeing flowing it to Spirit, Spirit flowing it to Malaysian Aerospace, then flowing it back into the Spirit Aerospace Wichita, and then flowing it to additional contractors who may be individuals or they're supplemental labor, can't tell. But either way, we've got long supply chain where any place along the way, it's always the human performance part that's going to break down. Because I bet the contracts have the right T's and C's. And I bet it was humans who didn't push those T's and C's through so that there was really good quality assurance surveillance at every step of the way. And that means at the Wichita facility, and that means Boeing's self-performed work in removing the door plug. Okay, so if you're interested in seeing some quality-related statements of work and contract language, then definitely click this QR code and sign up for free. It's on demand. It's about, this one's about 25 minutes or so, and I'll show you some examples. So, are you intrigued to learn more? Watch the ABCs of Performance-Based Contractors, both the Manager Training Series and the Case Study Series. It's free. I've got your back. Connect with me on LinkedIn and YouTube so you can stay up to date. I'll see you next time.